So this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can transition from being a startup owner, startup founder, or someone that's run your own business into a product manager at the big tech companies. If you are an entrepreneur and are thinking about getting into product management in big tech, our team at PCA works exactly with people like you to help you land your next big product management role. Link in the description if you want to set up a call with our team. In a lot of ways, being a product manager is like being a founder. If you are running your own business, entrepreneur, founder, or ex-founder, you know that you have done a lot of product work. So a lot of founders can and do step into product management roles, especially in top tech companies. I'm going to address a few of the common pitfalls and a few of the things that I've seen entrepreneurs or ex-founders struggle with, and I'm going to give you some solutions. The very first filter that ex-founders or entrepreneurs get into, I guess, a flavor of the imposter syndrome. It's like, well, sure, I can build a company or I can run a business, but I've never really been a PM. I don't exactly understand what the role entails. It feels similar, but can I really do it? The short answer is yes. Being a founder and running a business involves a lot of the same things. There's probably 70% overlap. Yes, there's a few skills that you're going to have to pick up, but it's okay. The fact that you have run a business and have built it from nothing or have contributed to building it from nothing means that you can pick up these skills. These are not necessarily even hard skills. A lot of them are soft skills. It's alignment in a different way as a founder or maybe as someone who owns the business. You might be used to giving instructions and sort of telling people what to do. That doesn't exactly happen in the same way as a product manager. So there's a few things you have to learn on that front. If you've literally never held a product manager role before, then it's going to feel a little daunting. It's going to feel a little strange, but I assure you it can be done. And in fact, it's a relatively easy transition if you lean into it. If you lean into all the things that you did as a business owner, as someone who had to start a company from scratch, getting funding, selling, marketing, organizing teams to build something, launch certain things if you're building a software product or if you're building a physical product or service, same deal. Customer service, operations, logistics, like all of that stuff happens in product management. A little bit different, but the majority of elements are the same. So the answer to the first question is yes, you can be a product manager. Now, technically, what does that look like? If you want to apply for a product manager role, senior PM, group PM, or really any product manager role, even director role, you're going to have to play by the rules of the game. A recruiter is not necessarily going to translate your founder, co-founder, proprietor, president, CEO experience into product manager. So what I like to do is just put the words product manager or head of product if it's a senior role. If your actual title was partner, CEO, president, or you're just the proprietor of this business, I would just put head of product. Just put yourself head of product. You're making it a little bit easier for them to understand, oh yes, okay, this person actually did product. Go over your experience. If you ran a business and if you worked somewhere in the past, you can just stack those experiences so it tells a compelling narrative from the perspective of you running product. Maybe you were a product manager first, then you were a head of product. Maybe then you were CPO, depending on how big the company is and what you actually did. And it doesn't matter if you were working in a lemonade stand or if you were running some sort of a physical good or service, it still applies. The same issues apply. Marketing, launches, selling, dealing with customers, improving your product, etc. All of that applies. You just have to figure out how to speak the language. You have to speak the language of the product manager. The other thing that I want to say is that being a founder or an entrepreneur is an excellent additional point to have on your resume as a future product manager. In fact, big tech recruiters and hiring managers often look for people with an entrepreneurial background. So it's going to be a nice checkbox. But we also have to add product roles if we can. So other roles that you've done in the past, think about whether you've done work that is synonymous with product in those other roles and add that role, add that title after your nominal, whatever title you actually had. You don't want to misrepresent yourself, but you also don't want to leave out this word product manager if you've actually done the work. I've already mentioned this a couple of times, but I just want to go over like what exactly a product manager does. Here are the things. Thinking about which business or which product line or which products to develop. Thinking about what the customers want. Thinking about and marketing our products, helping sales or performing sales, delivering the product, operations, organizing the strategy behind what we do now versus what we do later in the business or on a particular product, dealing with customer requests, understanding customer requests and translating them to changes in how you run your business and how you run and sell and deliver your goods and services. If you did any of those things, and I'm sure you did as an entrepreneur, then you are in fact a product manager. So you can comfortably apply to those roles. We'll do a separate video talking about what skills you should supplement as an entrepreneur getting into a product manager role, but this is a separate problem. Right now, you have a problem of getting your foot in the door, getting the callbacks for these jobs. Later on, when you get through the interviews, which is a separate problem, we can then tackle the issue of what to do on the job, what skills you have to actually acquire in your first 3, 6, 12 months to be successful as a product manager, because things are not exactly the same as if you were running your own company. In your resume, I want you to focus on hard data. Did you launch products? How much revenue did you make? How many users did you service? How many customers did you help? I want you to use actual metrics from your businesses. Speed, absolute volume, revenue, and users speak the loudest, but it could also be building a team, scaling a team, hiring and leading people. All of those are tangible results. Think about, what does the customer or the user get, and what does the business get? And just try to represent those things in your resume. And that's going to get the most attention from recruiters or hiring managers. Another question you might have is leveling. What level should I be? I ran my own company. The big way to think about leveling is, how much direct people management experience did you have? How many team members did you directly manage? If you were running a small company, if you're running a team of 5 to 10, did you directly manage them? If so, that's probably a group PM level. If you want to take it a little bit easier, you could also step down one level below and go into a senior PM role so that you could learn the ropes of what it's like to actually perform as a top tech PM without the added stress of the management. If you're running a big company where there's 30, 40, 50 people, perhaps more, that are reporting to you, meaning your reports have direct reports of their own, or you have departments, or you're just managing more people, then that's the director level. However, I would not recommend someone without big tech experience and without direct product management experience step into a director role at big tech. It's a big jump. You could do it, and it's actually quite a nice shortcut. It's a way that you can actually, with 5, 6, 7 years experience, jump into a director role very early on in your career, but it's exceptionally difficult to do, both on the getting your foot in the door. It requires relationships and positioning, and also performing on the job, because there's just a lot of stuff you don't know about the world. So I would recommend leveling down at least 1 or even 2 to go either to a group PM role where you manage 3 to 6 people, or a senior PM role where you are just an IC, individual contributor, and you are cross-functionally leading about 30 to 50 different people. Designers, engineers, researchers, scientists, etc. Another thing that you may be surprised to find out, especially if you are in San Francisco, Seattle, New York, or other top paid metros, is how much product managers get paid in big tech. It is substantial. It can be 400, 500, 700,000, even $1 million per year in compensation, mostly equity, but it can really add up to a lot. You might not be used to that because running a business is hard and it's difficult to generate revenue. But when you do generate revenue, it's even more difficult to turn that into a profit. So you might be surprised how much these product managers make. And ultimately, that's why I recommend a lot of startup founders or ex-founders that have tried, maybe succeeded, maybe didn't succeed, but got the experience, jump into big tech product management for the opportunities that it can bring in terms of compensation, connections, and future direction, future opportunities. The biggest thing that I want to say is there are a ton of startup founders and startup owners and people that have worked in startups and people that have started relatively big businesses. I mean, they're still small businesses in terms of revenue, but they're big in terms of the people they service and in terms of the people that work for them, that for some reason don't feel comfortable stepping into a product management role. Here's how to know if you're going to hate it in a big tech company. And I'll do a separate video on why I hated working at Google. If you come from a heavy ownership, heavy execution background, and that is usually where entrepreneurs come from, big tech carries the corporate bureaucracy of any big company, plus the technological special type of bureaucracy that comes from working at places like Google, Meta. So it's actually doubly difficult to survive there. There's sort of this combination of big company bureaucracy plus an attempt to leverage the data and be data driven. And it creates like this Frankenstein's monster effect sometimes, where we don't really take action because of the bureaucracy, but then we also don't take action because we're looking for this data all the time and we can never get the perfect data. So we're like twice as slow. So here's how to know whether you're going to hate it in a big tech company as a product manager. First thing is, you don't really control anything. You're going to have to get alignment from execs and your team and a cross-functional team. So you're going to be pitching all the time. It's more like a politician. You have to bring a lot of people in to agree with you and then slowly do it together. And the second thing is speed. Speed is disastrous. Unless you're working for a company that is well known for its efficiency and speed, which there's very few big tech companies like that. I'm thinking maybe Tesla is an exception, maybe Amazon, but in general, big tech companies are very, very slow. Again, a lot of this is because of the bureaucracy. It's just a big organization. It's difficult to move big organizations, but it's especially difficult sometimes because there is this requirement on data-driven decisions, plus an extreme aversion to risk because you're usually in a monopolistic environment already. So anything you do is likely to actually put you in a worse situation. I'll do a separate video talking about the reality of modern big tech companies, but you should just know things are going to go slow and you're going to have to convince everybody you're not going to be able to make any decisions. Those are the big ones to think about. So if you're okay with that, then the compensation and the opportunity could well be worth it. All right, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. You can always reach out on Instagram, DM me with any questions that you have, and I will answer them with a video or with a message. Thanks very much. See you next time.